Welcome to Asylum Atelier, welcome to our stream, welcome to Creative Discourse. Nailed it, yes, awesome. These introductions has to get better because I'm rewatching some of the videos when I'm trying to edit them and create some kind of a time lapse of things that we did. And I see just screwing it up over and over and over again. So I'm just gonna get excited about proper introduction. So like I said, welcome. I'm so happy to be here again. I'm so excited to continue painting alongside with you because that is such an important part of my painting process these days, and I'm kind of relying on this. So yesterday was kind of a difficult when I realized that due to environmental conditions in my studio, that's just like a politically correct way of saying that it was so cold in my studio because I was cheap on turning on the heaters because it's like extremely expensive to heat up the large space, the vacuum that it's here, or the amount of air that needs to be heated. It's extremely expensive, and I'm trying to be mindful about wasting resources. And the other thing is that the being a little bit more environmental is not really a reason to keep up this building heat up while nobody's here. So yeah, my camera froze. Not necessarily froze, but due to a cold weather, the battery drained out, and unfortunately I can't. The way how it's connected to a computer through the USB, my camera cannot be charged and worked simultaneously without the support of the battery. That's what it is. It needs all the juice. Anyway, that's a technical thing. So let's not get carried away and let's not get distract. That's the word that I'm looking for. Let's not get distracted by all the technological hurdles and issues, because they're always going to be there. And even yesterday, that technological hurdle brought some kind of funky ideas about shuffling the pigments on the palette for upcoming Bad Painting Friday. So it's just it's not really about how things are how not to do things or how would be difficult to do things, but rather about how to take advantage of what situation been presented with. So I want to talk a little bit about actually, well, let me backtrack a little bit, backpedal this. What I want to continue working on is definitely the composition that has to be finished by the end of the year. That's the goal that I gave myself, because I already extended it for 4 or 5 more months. And the reason why I want to finish it and I set up myself a goal is because as the time progresses, and that's the difficult part, and as you improve and as you evolve and as you continue forward with the painting, and especially with the larger projects, you're improving your skills, you're improving your understanding of a composition, you're improving your taste for art, the creativity, and you're adding more and more things to this. And at one point I really have to stop because it would be a never-ending story, which is kind of sad. But then also I would like to take this opportunity to maybe bring some ideas that I had with this painting to perhaps another project. So it more like that the idea that I was talking about a long time ago, and you might not even remember this, it's about finding that simplicity and bring that simplicity again back to that center point of a composition, and that was a journey. And I think that we went on the deep and long, strenuous, arduous detours throughout the stream and throughout the progress. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And maybe I before these streams, I don't think I really believed in the journey as much as a result. But right now, I am fully invested in that journey. I'm fully invested in exploring things and kind of absorbing all the knowledge and ideas that you guys bring here. So I want to actually translate it to another paintings, to another projects, and so on and so forth. So I want to kind of lock in by the end of the year, by the end of a calendar year, I want to lock in all the compositional components, all the ideas, and I really have to get into that stone cold execution. That means like really bringing all these ideas to life in that kind of a simplified manner, because I am not really a fan of hyperrealism. So yeah, and also yesterday I had time to really reflect certain things. I was looking at the painting. I tried not to paint, and I succeeded. And it actually gave me a little bit of a chance to actually even more examine what's happening here. And there are some things that I realized that they have to be, they have to be different. So I really have to work on that. And there are two main things actually. And I know that I jumped right into this composition and explaining. And the reason is because I don't want to waste any more time because of the failure of me, my failure of being able to stream. So I don't really want to prolong this introduction anymore. So jumping right in and going back to what I was talking about, and when I'm looking at it right now, and I think that you can see it as well if you, yeah, I believe I do, that really these two figures are extremely similar in their posture, in their size, in the color, in the position, in the relation to each other. And maybe you can't see it as much as I do, because you see it under a slight angle, not under a huge angle, right? So they're going into perspective. So what works for you while you're looking at this does not really work for me, because you are seeing this bigger, and as it goes into a depth of field of a camera, these guys are getting smaller. But me, when you think about perspective, and since these are not in perspective, these are all on the flat surfaces, I didn't achieve that that feeling of a perspective when I'm standing right in front of it, right? When I'm looking flat, when I'm looking at this picture as a flat picture, when I'm looking at this painting as a flat picture plane. So what I see is these two figures and this figure and this figure as almost as equals. They kind of create not the perfect symmetry, but they're very symmetrical in my eyes. So I have to figure something out to change it and adjust it. And it's actually very difficult to see these things. Even for me, it's very difficult to see it, because you have to have a certain conditions. And right now, I would say when it comes to light, this is a perfect light, because it is overcast, but it's very like a thin overcast, so it doesn't kind of the room is flooded with enough light for me to see almost everything, and it almost looks like right now it looks like that these pigments have their true color stage or state for me. So when I'm looking here, I can tell that this is not actually blue, but this is black mixed with white. Maybe tiny bit of blue, because it was like there is a little bit of ultramarine into shadows especially. And I can tell that this shadow is correct when it comes to transparency. This is just almost pure black, and it just looks wrong. It doesn't belong to this environment, right? So these are these little small adjustments that you would be able to see, you wouldn't be able to see when there is a lot of light shining through. Because if you remember yesterday, or actually 2 days ago, there was a really strong, like a warm light that was created by direct sunlight hitting the building that it's right across the street, and it has very strong orange facade, and that orange facade was reflecting was flooding this room with orange, like an orangish tone. And also this got all beautifully lit and almost kind of shiny, and the figures kind of disappeared. So the effect of light was making the illusion, or the light conditions were making that illusion, than actual painting itself, right? So, and this is something this is one of the main reasons why I prefer to use a natural light source, which would be a sun, our sun, and not artificial lighting. That being said, I'm not saying that artificial lighting is bad. What I'm trying to say is that something that might look as a disadvantage, working with unstable natural light source, because I cannot control it, even though I ordered it from Netherlands multiple times, the requests are still there. I cannot control it, and rather being annoyed by the fact that the light source is always changing, it's amazing to actually take it into consideration and cherish these moments of a changing light condition, because it can give you a different perspective. It's like a different set of lens that you would apply on your eye and then on your creative ideas, or the creative ideas or creative solutions that you're trying to come up with, right? So it's just it's another set of what would you call it? It's like and I'm trying to find a good example to what I'm trying to say, because I don't think it's very clear, and probably it's not clear because it's really also sits at that edge of my own understanding of what painting is and how to approach it. So I am on the same boat as you are when it comes to this, that there is no like a clear answer about what to do with painting in the certain stages. We have a guidelines, we have some kind of ideas how to correct them, but then I feel that painting always gets stale, and you know, I talked in length into a stale painting, that if there is something that destroys me, it's definitely a stale a painting. So I really appreciate these things when it comes to natural light and these randomness. Let me read what you wrote. Just a second. I see what you mean, and I'm curious. How would you solve that? Because I'm at loss. I try to figure out how I would solve it, because that's how I learn things. But this one, I'm at loss. You are asking exactly the right questions, and I don't know if I have the right answers for you, unfortunately. So maybe let's dissect it together and see what's going to happen. I step back all the way, the maximum length that I have, and you can see me that I'm going out of the frame. The reason why I want to be out of the frame, I talked about this many times, because I don't want to look at this painting the way that I have to either move my head or move my eyes. I just want to see it at once as one thing, as a unified thing, as it would be like that small picture when you zoom out in your digital medium. That's the first step. Secondly, I take a couple pictures and I twist them upside down. Then I have my trusted mirrors, and I was playing with the mirrors, and you know that I'm a mirror guy. I have them all over the place. So, and you're referring to two persons. Yes, I understand that you were referring to those two people that they are there. So, since I don't have anybody here to tell me what's wrong with the painting, I have to be aware that, not necessarily aware. You know, like when you and I remember that I was using that example of cooking, right? So how I'm trying to let these colors introduce to each other, right? Same as a famous chefs would describe in their TV shows about cooking. And coming back to that, it's also like how does chef knows what ingredient or what kind of spices or whatever, what other additional thing should be added to that dish, what should be subtracted from there in the kind of a next stage, what should be reduced. Should I add more? I don't know, chicken stock. I'm not really a good cook, so I don't really know how all these things works. But I know that when I am cooking for myself, I have to test it. I can't simply, maybe with baking, and I know, it's still baking. It's also a specific craft when people are like measuring things exactly to get to a same result. So then they can build on top of it. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm going to that measurements, and I'm going to use these measurements not as something that is set in stone and it has to be like this. I am going to start with it and I'm going to check it. I'm going to do like through the checklist of let's say I'm picturing right now in my head a grid. What grid, you might ask? Well, multiple grids. I am looking for just the regular, when you split it in half, horizontally and vertically as well. I did it the other way around, horizontally and vertically, and then I am splitting it on the halves and then the halves and the halves. So you have like a small kind of like a checkerboard, and I'm looking on the alignment. So let's say from top of the canvas to a first kind of a point, or the first positive shape that it hits. It's from here to here, and then I'm going, and I took that measurement and check this out. It's almost the same, and it's still wet. So this would be the simplest. And you don't need to be you don't need to use any creative input. This is pure measurement, right? So I'm going to do it one more time, because this is a very simple but very simple concept that it's overlooked all the time. And I'm not saying that you have to do it. Like, I'm just trying to prove the point. I took the measurement. And it's like, what? It is, if I'm going to exaggerate, it's off by a centimeter. And you might think like on this size, right? I don't know if the camera can zoom in. On this size of the stick, centimeter is actually a lot. True, but I am looking like on the whole painting. On the whole painting, centimeter left and right, it's nothing. It's almost imperceivable by naked eye, right? So these figures, no matter what I do, these figures are always going to look like they're on the same horizontal, right? And if they're on the same horizontal and I am putting them on the same horizontal, it should have a meaning. It shouldn't be random. Because if I'm trying to, because I put this there, not because it was random in terms that I wanted to randomize it. It's random and I was not thinking about that. Therefore, my brain did the easiest way for it to do. I'm used to paint the figures in the school or whatever. We always had like a pleasing, and I have to stop touching this. We always used to have like a pleasing distance from top to bottom, top to bottom of canvas, right? And it's not always like that, but that's the usual, especially with the drawing. When I'm looking at my drawing, we can go over my drawing if you want someday. They are usually like I'm trying to fill the page. Doesn't really matter the reason, but not thinking about it consciously, making that decision, my brain is going to choose the easiest way, because why should it, create an extra complications? So yes, measurements. Let's. I'm gonna. Your question is sort of like value working, check, colors, check, shapes, check, something like that. Yes, that's exactly my point. Because in my head, when I'm thinking about composition, and you remember I talked about that simplification of any, whether it's a subject this large or like a small, quick, like our bed painting Fridays, still life. Still life paintings, like a small ones. It's a still same simplification and trying to find the pleasing one shape against another. And when I say one shape and against another, it would be a positive shape against a negative shape. No halftones, no nothing. It's more. I remember there was an exercise, and it is, and I think I mentioned this a couple of times before, but I have a paper here, right? And the idea of a negative and positive shape is that you take a scissors and you cut out the shape that you like, and you have one chance, and you have one go, and that's going to be your shape that you like, right? So that would be something that I'm focusing on. That one shape, positive against negative, right? So that would be a stage one, and in that stage, I wouldn't do any measurements. I wouldn't do any like a compositional grids. I wouldn't do like a golden ratio. I wouldn't think about Fibonacci numbers. I wouldn't think about a rule of thirds. I wouldn't think about size of negative space against positive space in terms of share, in terms of pure like a mass, how percentage of negative space is against the positive space. None of that. It would be just me having fun and doodling. Like when you look at small kids and children, and they're just like, no, I'm like this here, and that's what I would do subconsciously. Something is pushing my brain to simplify it to the point that I'm trying to organize everything into these tiles. That brain is going to push me there. I know, I'm aware of it. That's why I'm trying to be as loose as possible. It could be. I recently saw there was some marketing video, not marketing video. It was a guy that need to do typography, right? So he wanted to create his own letters. And he called the letters sriracha because he took a sriracha sauce. It's like a hot sauce, spicy sauce. Everybody knows the red one with the green top. And he actually took it outside and he spread the sheets of paper, and he was just spraying with the sriracha sauce letters, right? and then he took a picture of it, and then he transferred it to a vector software, and so on and so forth. And that was his. So he tried to randomize whatever he's doing the same way, probably because he understands that our brain is going to force me to simplify it to a tiles. So it's going to be like a checkerboard, and everything is going to be equally distant and spaced and so on and so forth, because like you said, we like to control things, and if we cannot control anything in outside of the world, we're just going to control if I have every book in the right position in my shelves. They are not in the right position in my shelves, not because for me it's because I'm lazy to clean them, and I use them all the time. So putting them back to a right position would drive me crazy. It took too much time. So that's what I do. And maybe we can do a bed painting Friday, shuffle the palette, pigments on the palette, and maybe paint the books, because they are extremely randomized right now. I did not really take into consideration whether or not I like how they look. I just throw them there because they were in the way. So that's the chaos in comparison to organization of everything, right? So if I were to, I don't know, my instinct and something that I was taught from early days was that, oh, what if some people gonna come to your studio? You should probably clean it up. You don't want it to look like a mess. Yes. So somewhere in the back of my mind, if someone calls me that, oh, we are going to visit your studio, do you have a time for us? I'm just probably going to move everything that I don't want to clean into another room, into the back room. I don't really let anybody there. There's just no one can go there. I am afraid to go there on daily basis. So that would be that first step, that I'm really just having fun. And you remember I did it right here. It was the first brush. I want it to go this way, right? So I'm really pushing myself to not think about where the figures are going to be and pushing it that way. So that would be a first thing. And then I have to go through this checklist. And like you mentioned, it's values, colors, so on and so forth. But first, it would be, if I do not like that initial just, me doodling and having fun, I would be like, okay, let me turn it upside down. Let me turn it, let me look at it with a, there it is. Let me look at the mirror image of this, right? And I'm looking at the mirror image and I see what's happening with this from completely different view, and I have to go further away, but just to see it as a one thing in its totality. And this is actually where I realized that I have a problem when I was all the way back here with my trusted mirror, because this mirror and having it upside down, it never disappointed me. And I see that I have to, and this is what goes through my head. I am going to push this. Like let's grab a red pigment, dark red pigment, and I'm going to push this all dark red, and I'm going to connect it with these figures, and you are not going to be able to understand where is the sky and where are the figures. So I'm going to, again, everything that I build up right here and I liked, I'm going to destroy by this. Only not because I don't have anything else to do, but because I have to push that simplified version, and I have to see it. I must see it, because right now, if someone comes here into the studio, this is what they're going to say. They're not going to understand why the flowers are here. They won't. And I know they won't, because people were here and they told me that. And I understand why not. Because they have no sense to being there. They have a sense for us because we talked about this a lot. But someone who comes into it, and that's the mirror. The mirror is just the viewer or someone that likes painting. He or she or they or whatever, they're going to come and they're going to look at the painting and they're going to ask questions. Visually first, right? And what they see is a large empty space and too much figures on this side, and there is no balance. The reason why they're saying this is because, again, their brain, and this is like I said, this is my brain as well, yours 100% as well. That's the nature of how brain works. We're trying to balance it out and to make it equidistant because it's easier for us to understand. And if it's easier for us to understand, our brain does not need, it doesn't require any computational power. Therefore, it doesn't need to burn calories and energy to think. If you offset it like this, the brain is going to reject it. The brain of, when you put yourself into mind of just a simple, not a simple, when you put yourself into shoes of a regular observer of art, not someone that likes art, but a regular observer of art. And I see what I see, and I'm going to, there's my trusty charcoal. What I see, because I'm working on this, what I see is this shape right here, all together. All darkness, it's together as one shape. I don't see the figures, but I already laid for myself some indication that these are figures, and people do not want to connect sky as one shape. They don't think about sky, about dark sky, dark figures as a one shape, as a diagonal. They think about this literally, because that's what this is. And that's why I think that's why the explosion of abstract art was so popular, because you didn't have to, from the get-go, you knew the painters, they gave you immediately a power of, this is not real, so don't look for anything real. I started with that kind of abstract shape, and then I gave you clues, and you cannot get rid of them. You received the clue. It has to be that these are figures. There is no way to my brain to convince it that they are not figures. Let's do this. The moment I'm just going to, well, I don't want to do it because it's going to take a lot of time, and I don't think it's, you can do it yourself. The moment I would flip it upside down, you would come to the studio and you would ask me, why is that painting upside down? And I would have a hard time to explain to you that the painting is upside down because it has to be, because I do not want to allow my brain to think about these shapes literally. And it's forcing me to do that. You are forcing me to do it just by being here, because you're reminding me that these are the real figures, and I'm trying so hard to forget that these are real figures, but just simple shapes. I don't want to say that I am, reducing human beings into simple shapes. No, I am assigning well, how would I put this? In this imaginary 2D space, I am assigning every figure a shape, and then shape has a value of, I don't know, if this is a primary, there's going to be a value 1, value 2, value 3, right? Not because I am, like I said, reducing people to numbers, I am trying to trick my brain to not be literal. And plus, I'm trying to simplify the idea so it would be easier for me to manipulate that. You know, I think that most of you here that watch this, we talked about Star Trek, we talk about Lord of the Rings and so on and so forth. We should also mention Interstellar, and that, you know, something that people always talk about curving of, you know, or bending of space and time. You remember, like traveling from, everybody's doing this with the papers. And it was, at one point, it was everywhere. It was so annoying. Everybody was explaining it that way. But that's simply no better way for me to explain what's happening with me when I'm thinking about this. It's just, in order to get from point A to point B on two-dimensional surface, you just have to travel the distance. But then when you bend it, you just simplify the process, and you just jump from one to another. That's what I'm trying to do. So the computational, and I'm talking in terms of computer, even though our brain doesn't work like a computer's, but it's easier for us to visualize that. Because we can't really describe what the love is, we can't really describe what sadness is. We can feel it, but we cannot describe that. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to simplify the problem to its essential or fundamental problem. Because if I were to think about, oh, I have a book here, I have a face here, I have a hand here, I have another portrait, another hand, and the staff, and the icon, and this, I would get crazy, and I'm getting crazy. I would get crazy. I would really get crazy. Yeah, that makes sense. Does it? I don't know. I was worried that like halfway through the describing, I was like, okay, this is really a limitation of my brain. I'm going to fall off the edge, and I don't know what to do. I'm just, taking that leap, and I have to believe that I'm going to land somewhere. So that's why it's so difficult to talk about composition. That's why nobody wants to talk about composition. That's why nobody cares about explaining a composition to thoroughly, because it's abstract concept. And I don't want to say it's difficult. It takes time to absorb that information. And not only that, it's extremely difficult to be able to use that information. That's what I think it's even more annoying, right? And the problem is with the composition, when I'm looking at it right now, so I don't talk abstractly, and I go directly to problems that I see and I want to address. And not because I'm streaming it, because, and this is a very important thing, I am not streaming this because I want to show you how to solve the problems. I am streaming this because I want to show you that I have problems that I can't solve, but I'm looking for the creative solutions. If anything, this is what you should take from this stream. This is the only thing, and you can turn off the stream right now, and you can you can go. It's all downhill from here. Going back to what I was saying, so I have this measurement right here. So I did this measurement right here, and I'm very close, and I know that I have to be aware of this. I have to make sure, I have to find the creative solution how to do this. The first thing that comes to my mind was just, okay, I'm just going to push that dark background even more this way, because I lighten it up. And I don't know why I lighten it up, because I wanted a nice continuous gradation in the background, and it went too far, maybe. Maybe I was looking only here on this painting, and again, my brain wanted to put it into a center, right? Because I'm very close, this would be, well, somewhere here would be the center of the composition, right? So look how close I am. So I would divide light and the dark to half and half. My brain is just so annoying. So that's one thing. Another thing is when I'm looking at this, check this out. I am going, and I talked about this, and I don't know if you can see. Let me just grab my pointy stick, as I call it, but it's actually a mole stick. So you're going, here is a step, here is a step, here is a step, here is a step, and also, I don't think you can see it, but there are like two like brush strokes like this creating steps. So annoying. It's burning my eyes to look at it. It's burning my eyes to look at it, and I don't think you can see it, but I'm gonna point them out to you, and you have to get really close to your screens to see it. It's a little light line here, and then a little light line right here. And what I did, my brain just, again, stepped in, and I was with the flat brush, and I did chuk, chuk, equidistantly. I took a measurement of the brush, which is this width, and I placed it this way, and I moved exactly the same way, and I placed it like I'm painting a fence. So bad. So bad. Cody Impasto, hey, what's going on, man? Welcome to this creative discourse / despair that we're having here with trying to solve the problems with the composition. So going back to this, another thing is, look at the angle. I made the same angle right here, the diagonal that I'm talking about, this. And it's very similar to what I'm doing here, right? So it kind of naturally, it creates the top point right here, the top point right here, you go down almost the exact length, and then you do kind of like a symmetrical shape that I created there. That is compositionally, it's so annoying. Not necessarily annoying, wrong word. I'm going to take it back. Where is a variety? Where is the variety in this? And if I am not honest to myself, I'm going to keep continuing with these mistakes. And not that I would, well, first of all, I'm going to repeat them over and over again. But secondly, even worse, not only I'm going to repeat them, I am going to build on top of them. I'm building on an adequate foundation. And when I say inadequate, I mean to my own standards when it comes to composition. And I am holding my own standards. Where is this guy? Who is this guy? Have you guys heard about this painter? His name is Rembrandt. I know. And not only him, I'm holding it to standards of Velázquez or Raphael or Michelangelo or Caravaggio, Titian, and list goes on and on until a 19th century Impressionism. Degas comes to mind. I mean, that guy was off the hook when it comes to composition. But it's so weird to look at this composition because we want them to be balanced, and he just crops the people weird way. He creates the weird kind of he creates the tension. And the tension, it's actually, as I see it, as I feel it, that tension creates, I don't want to say conflict because it's not conflict, but it's forcing you to think, and we so much don't want to think. I don't even know how to describe it differently. Rembrandt seems familiar. I have no clue who he is. DM7, are you really? If you don't have a clue, I can give you a. I can recommend you to watch a couple of previous videos, and I'm pretty sure you get familiar with him very quickly. And I know that you mean it as a joke, and you just made me laugh. Who could that be? Rembrandt? I don't know. It's some random guy. It's just immediately. I just pictured a Big Lebowski. It's just a dude. It's a dude. I don't know. It's a cool dude. So Rembrandt is a dude that you might want to get familiar with. So anyway, just thank you. Just you really made me laugh. That's awesome. I hope that you're laughing as well with me, not at me. But if you're laughing at me, it's good as well, because you know, this is something that you know, I don't have a problem with. I like when people are having fun. But coming back to, and thank you for just, you know, relaxing that really kind of a heavy talk about the composition. And it happens to me sometimes that I get frustrated with compositions because they mean so much to me, and it's difficult to look at so much work and labor that we together put into this, because, like I said, this is our stream, this is our creative discourse, and then these are simple, not simple. These are elementary mistakes that we can solve not by being creative, but by being observant and truthful to the fact that, you know, I can't lie to myself. You remember I talked about is that I don't want to lie to myself when it comes to this. I'm sorry, I stopped reading I'm glad to woke up. You hardly see oil painting on Twitch. It's 7 a.m. here. Oh man, just you're I don't know. I might put you back to sleep. I'm sorry, because these are really difficult. Not difficult. These are really brain demanding things. And I'm not saying that you would have to be. What I'm trying to say is that you really have to push your brain or trick your brain. I don't want to say tricked. You have to snap out of that repetition that we like, out of that minimalism that is such easy to look at, and especially if you want to create something interesting, something that can grab attention. It not necessarily needs to be more explosions and more detail and more, I don't know, scary things. It's that simple, not necessarily simple, it's that straightforward shape. No, I'm looking for a different word. It's gonna come to my mind. But you are here to see, you are here to figure it out, how to adjust your compositions as well. So let's look at this. What are my options? That's going to be a little bit more interesting. My options are limitless, right? As they say. But what I could do, I could start messing around with these figures right here. I could start moving them left and right. That's a possibility, that's a chance. But if you remember, I talked about the shape as one unit. So I don't want to think about these as figures yet. I put the placeholders there, yes, true, absolutely true, but I don't want to think about that yet. What I could do, I could simply change the shape. Not the people, not the overall shape, because I want to keep the diagonal running, because that's the main idea of a composition. But I can change and adjust these shapes, right? So let me see, like maybe I could, where is my charcoal? Where did I put it? And by the way, I'm using wine charcoal for I'm using wine charcoal to adjust this directly to an oil painting for if you just jump into stream. So what I'm thinking is maybe, because I'm looking at this, right? And since I put the head right here and little lighter value, automatically by visual phenomena, we're associating this as a figure, so it has one pillar-like shape, and that pillar-like shape is very similar to pillar-like shape of this guy. And when I say pillar, I mean column. So what if I do this? What if I push it a little bigger and I make him bigger? And when I said bigger, I make him wider, right? Make it wider. That means that automatically, visually, when you think about that, when you're going to look at that painting, what it's going to do, it's going to make him look bigger, ergo closer to us. And you're going to stop thinking about him and comparing to that guy. You're going to start comparing him to these guys. And that's going to offset him a little bit visually. That's one of the choices that I have. And I think that we might try that one. But I have to be careful, because what's going to happen, the moment I'm going to start messing up with the size of this, I am going to change the overall volume of a positive shape against a negative shape. I forgot that it's still wet. Positive shape against negative shape, and since this is happening, I might inadvertently do this, that I'm going to have a mass of this light shape that I have right here, the same size on the canvas percentage-wise, so it's going to be 50-50, and that's going to be boring again. I don't want to do that. That's kind of a very, very annoying. When it comes to not annoying, that's kind of that's very symmetrical. And again, my brain would get into that comfortable stage that right now it's 50-50, but you have a large empty space right here, which I don't want, because I want something here. Your brain is asking for some circle, and you remember I talked about circles and how important they are. Not important, how easy it is to fix it. Rembrandt wouldn't put a circle there, because he's too clever for that. What he would do, he would incorporate that circle and maybe create some interesting shape with the grass in the field. So that's that creative solution that Rembrandt would bring, I think. If I don't want to speak for Rembrandt, but that's what would kind of fix that. So I have that in mind. I have that in as a backup. So I have a multiple ways to solve the problem. I don't know which one is the right one. So that's when, that's coming back all the way back to one of the first streams that we had together, that 95% of my work are mistakes. And I'm not saying that there are mistakes simply because that I'm mistaking. These are experiments and creative solutions that sometimes they simply don't work. So let's mix some pigments. Let me fire up the camera on my palette. Let's see if the camera is going to work. And there is a lot of other things that I want to address, but let me go step by step. So I'm going to be working on this mostly, so I'm just going to move it a little bit more. Can you still see it? Yeah, a little bit more this way. So I should probably start. Well, here's a crazy idea. Could I push this head more right here? Would be such a bad thing compositionally. And I can't really say unless I place it down there. So I have to paint it, and then if I don't like it, I have to repaint it. So this is going to be one of those moments when let me just see if the camera is working. Well, it wants to. It wants to. So let's see. And I have I left my palette. Okay, let's see. Cool. All right. I'm sorry, just give me a second. I'm just trying to adjust the camera. And why is my other camera just turned off? I hope that it's not the problem with the battery. Let's see. Am I not streaming? What happened? Am I still online? Right? Why is it not working? What happened again? Give me a second. I'm sorry. I apologize, but there's something really weird happening. Just a second. Let me see. Yeah, I think that there is something with my battery. No. Like I said, I'm so sorry because of that really cold weather. I think my camera just refused to work with me. Let's see. Well, okay. Oops, let me just zoom it in. I don't know what happened. I have no idea what's happening today. Let's just position it better. It wouldn't be streaming if I didn't have these. All right. Okay, we're back. We're cooking. The one camera is working, another camera is working. Let's see how how long it's going to be. Is this? Yes, it is. Why is it? Okay, I'm sorry. I think we're good, but something is with my camera, and I don't know what. I think that that frozen environment didn't help it. So I know what I want for Christmas. I hope my mom is watching. I hope. Right, let's go for it. Okay, let me clean this up a little bit, because yesterday I was thinking that I can save a little bit of this pigment because I wanted to get him a nice camera. Yeah, well, these, you know what, these cameras are getting really expensive. I don't know why, but they're getting expensive. I guess I like everything, so there's no reason to complain specifically about cameras, but okay, let me. Okay, let me fire this up. Why are you not working? Why are you not working? So since I wanted to continue painting, I left my brushes into that kind of a linseed oil bath. So they are ready to go. I'm just going to wipe them a little bit. That's something that I do if I paint, when I paint every day. I don't really want to clean them all the time because it's not doing them. It's not good for bristles. Plus, you can get all sorts of residues from a pigment. So all sorts of residue from soaps and so on and so forth. So I prefer to just clean them naturally with linseed oil. And of course, if you need to break, it's all good. Yeah, you have to get it ready for for tomorrow. That's all good. That's all good. You know me very well. I just I repeat myself over and over again. So you're not gonna lose anything. And I want to clean my palette a little bit. Where's my cleaning tool? There it is. I'm just going to scrape the, excess paint. Well, some of it is dried a little bit, but that's not the big deal. I can thoroughly clean it after we're done today. I just need to get, you know, unwanted chunks of paint away so they don't mix, because some of them are already dried in and they started the drying process, and you don't want to destroy your painting by mixing the dried paint into it. I mean, a little bit of how would you call it? A little bit of I guess that's one thing that I'm trying to keep in track on, and that's a fat overlean. I'm trying not to destroy my pigments completely, or destroy the surface of my painting completely, because like you said, I work or you could see it actually, I work with a multiple layers, so I need to make sure that at least that one rule, if since I'm breaking every other ones, I'm trying to keep only that one fat overlean with my mixtures. Okay, so let me hit this. Let me start with repainting that, and not repainting. Let me start with adjusting this, and I'm gonna go from here to here. And I want some kind of a weird mixture. I'm looking for a, I'm going to use a little bit of that ultramarine, just a touch, to offset this red a little bit. And maybe I'll hit it with a little bit of this green. Maybe a little bit more of that green. Maybe let's go the green and vermilion. This is going to be a drastic change, but it has to be done, I think. So let's try it. Let's see. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want you to think that those are people and that's the sky and they're separate. I'm just going to connect them. For the time being, I'm going to connect them. Maybe I could make it a little lighter. Let's see. Yeah, this is better. Because I need to see the shape in its entirety. And not only me, I want the viewer to see it in its entirety. This is my favorite part of painting, just having fun and experiment with pigments. Let's just throw a little bit of red into that mixture as well, just to see what's up. Yep, oh, this is good. So I'm going to follow that idea. You see, like I'm really pushing it dark, and you can see how it completely changed the vibe. So that way you don't have to panic. Okay. It's all good. It's all good. Like I said, I understand that, I understand that because I was told that I should pay attention more other not only other people, but also other things, not just being in the studio. So I gotcha. I have to really start. And maybe we could just put a little bit of light area right there. So see, I'm just trying to push the shape right now. And it might sound weird, but it really needs to be there. Not necessarily it's going to end up this way. And this is another important thing when it comes to composition, and that's that fact that this is not necessarily a final stage of painting. This is more that experimentational part of the painting. And you remember how happy I was that I figured out the person, I figured out this, I figured out that, and I was just, oh, I'm so close to this. And I'm back to blank canvas. I'm back to blank canvas. So what if I make him bigger? And I was talking about something here that Rembrandt with something figured out here, so let me just put something there to see compositionally how it's going to work. I think this might work. Well, let's see. And again, I'm not completely repainting this composition. I'm trying to go back to why is this camera again it's not working? I don't know. I mean, this is just why, oh why? Maybe even my devices want to have a Christmas break. I don't know. It seems like it. It's just a constant fight. And maybe I should probably read some of some specific manuals how to solve those problems with cameras. Maybe that would be beneficial. So, like I was saying, I'm not repainting this at all. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get back to that root of the composition that I talked about at the beginning. So let's push it there. Let's see what's going to happen. I'm still in that preliminary stage where I'm figuring things out. And look how things are starting to change. And I didn't do anything. I didn't do that much. I'm just trying to. I mean, this is going to annoy me today. I mean, seriously. Both cameras. Well, yeah. Well, that's what's up. Let me hit maybe with a little bit of light. White, I mean. And red. What if sky is going to be that color? I like this one. So let me just maybe put it there for now. And the reason why I'm putting that red there, it's not because I want sky necessarily to be red. It's more about the beautiful play of you're going from dark to red, and then the blue can pop back into place. Just simple adding or mixing a little bit of white with black, and that's going to be that optical illusion. And the camera is just annoying. Check this out. I'm just gonna, and you can see it already here, how big of an effect on the palette it has. And this is where I'm thinking, this is where I'm creating most of the decisions. And then I'm going to test these decisions, whether or not they're working here. And I'm not going to paint all over it. I'm just going to incorporate it so it has that optical illusion of optical mixing. And you can see that I'm going back and forth, and you see how it's like slowly starting to introduce to each other. And it's going to give that kind of a little bit more of the visual interest when it comes to so instead of me thinking about painting with red, I was actually using red as a support character, so that the blue can shine and I can just connect them together. And when I said blue, I mean black and white, because this is not a mixture of there's no blue in this mixture. And right now I add a little bit of yellow, it's turned towards the green, so I hit it with a little bit more of that vermilion to offset that greenness, right? Yeah, he can definitely be bigger. That's all good. I think it's going to work. And maybe can I connect them? Now is that, I had this disconnected here, but can I just connect them here through this? think I could. And you can see right now, immediately what kind of pops into my mind is that since this is kind of translucent, it's different than this part right here. This looks like, oh, this could be a cape. Right? This could be a cape, and this is the actual figure that I have there, and I'm trying to change that fact that it looks very similar. You know, from left side to right side. Maybe I could push him even slightly lower. I think the problem is, I know that I'm painting right here. I understand that, but I think that I will have to change this guy one more time. And I think that he has to be smaller. Because I'm looking at my sketch that I have up there, and he is significantly smaller in my original idea. And that would create that different angle. So let's see what we can do there. Let me grab light pigment right here. A little bit of this. It's too bright. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make him slightly smaller. This has to go, okay. It's not going to be as easy as I thought. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Let me see. I don't think I remember. I'm trying to find in my maybe let's push his, okay, let's try to do this. Let's take a, so I'm going to do a couple adjustments. I think that the problem might be on the other side as well. Well, not, I'm pretty sure that it is on the other side as well. I'm thinking that he's way too big to my liking. So I'm going to push him a little bit more higher up as I wanted to, as I intended. And I'm going to make him smaller, and this guy's going to get bigger. And I'm going to push this guy all the way here. Compositionally. As we discussed, he's in that taller grass, and I'm going to incorporate him into that taller grass. And he's going to go all the way. He's going to be somewhere here. This is going to be where the lower part is going to be. So I have to change the size, the proportions. So let me maybe adjust his proportions a little bit. So his head might be like this small right here. Oh, this is going to be painful. Painful to watch. Ooh. But it needs to be done. It needs to be done. I'm sorry. His arm has to go higher up as well. So I can push it this way, a little bit more here and here. Yep. And I mean, really think about what I just did in terms of, you know, there's so many things that are going to change right now, but the reason why I'm doing it is because I have difficulties with this, and I might spend hours and hours trying to fit this, all these figures, this large shape right here that I kind of enjoy how it's pushing that direction, only to compensate or accommodate this quick adjustments here. It's not going to be quick, of course it's going to take a while, but it's still more manageable. To work on one single a figure and painting, let's see what's going to happen. And this is again, I started with this stream with thinking about what am I going to do here with a composition, and I was talking about the different ways of how to solve this problem, and this has nothing to do with any of these things. This is all based on my feeling that this should be changed. As the only explanation that I have. That's the only explanation that I have. And you remember I talked about, you know, a feeling, how important role it has in terms of, you know, me making a decisions. And I used to be so against it, my own feeling, because I felt that it's, I cannot drive to how can I derive to correct solutions based on feelings if I cannot measure them, replicate them, and so on and so forth, only to realize that I don't need to use them necessarily like something that is set in stone, but maybe just listen it to a little bit in terms of there's the inner voice that is telling me something is wrong, and maybe it's not here, it's on the other side. And that's all. And then I'm going to kick in with a concrete or, you know, specific adjustments. So I can push this all the way up here and maybe even more here, right? So that will help as well to push it. So the dark value shadow could go all the way here, perhaps. Here and here, like so. And then that lighter value could be here. And then darker again. I have to squeeze more pigments on my palette. And okay, why are you not working? Just give me one reason. Why are you not working? Like, what would be the reason? I don't know. I apologize for the camera. Let me squeeze the pigments. So I need to clean this up a little bit. So I'm just squeezing right now some warm pigments, just classics, yellow ochre, and I still have enough titanium white. That's okay. A little bit more ivory black on this side. And I need to, I said that I'm squeezing yellow ochre, but it was raw sienna, so my apologies. I meant raw sienna, I don't know why I said yellow ochre. And right now it's yellow ochre. And if you watch the stream regularly, you know the yellow ochre is something that there's never enough yellow ochre in my studio to accommodate my needs for yellow ochre. You like the contrast? Let's see what's going to happen next, because I made this guy right now really, really, like, the head is probably this big. So he's somewhere like on this, and that would be cool. Okay, so I can have him on that. And when the reason why I measure the head, because the head is telling me how far in the distance is in terms of linear perspective. If you remember from linear perspective, things that are receiving into distance, they're getting smaller, you know. So and then what I could do is actually let's test this theory. Since actually push this level lower right here. And you can see right now that I'm working on both sides of a canvas simultaneously. And maybe, and this is going to be big maybe, but let's see what's going to happen. Let's see what's up. Maybe I could push this a little bit more this way right here. The darkness to connect it with this guy as well. So this might be a dark cloud looming right there. And now it's again completely abstract composition. So we are in square one when it comes to this. But important part is that I would rather be, as you remember, because this is really about the composition, and I know that it's not only me who struggles with compositions, but I have to be prepared to go to square one. Not only prepare, I have to be excited to go back to square one in order for me to be. You remember we talked about that struggle, that you don't feel that excitement and that motivation of continue painting the same painting because it's not going your way. And I am making it right now to go in my way. I love how you got. I love how you go bold with it. I'd be too afraid to change it that much at this point. Okay, you'll be back. Go clean, and then I'll get back to it. And we can discuss the boldness, because I don't think it's boldness. I think it's just a sheer. I don't know what I'm doing, so who cares? Most importantly, I think that 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 it's about that being not harsh to yourself necessarily, but being honest to the fact that, like, I don't like how it looks. And that's the only thing that drives me to do this better. Just the sheer fact that I don't like how it looks. And most of I'm creating these paintings for myself. So why would I create something that I don't like? I think it's the ultimate question. And if you stop for a second to think about things like, you know, like people have to like it, because if they don't like it, then it doesn't. So it's not good. It's so difficult to get for me, and even right now, thinking about this right now, it is difficult. And I am truly, I am terrified of how is this going to, how am I going to finish this till the end of the year. Probably it's impossible. I mean, not finishing like it would be a finished painting. I mean, finishing the composition so I'm satisfied with where things are, and where I want them to be. I'm looking for a burnt sienna. Where are you? Burnt umber. Ochre deep. Maybe I could use that one. Mm-hmm. yellow ochre here. This yellow. Get a little bit of this right here. And let me check that another box with pigments. Secret stash of pigments. And where are you? Burn sienna. Gotcha. You thought you were going to escape. The reason why I'm going to use right now a burnt sienna is because I need a darker orange, and that's the idea for me. When it comes to burnt sienna, it's like a really dark orange that works, and it is saturated when it's in the dark stage. You can't really bring it to a light because you're gonna add a lot of white into it. So I wouldn't use it as like a like a cadmium orange, not at all, but like a very dark orange. And the reason why I want to use this as a dark orange is because I want to offset that blueness that's gonna go on top of it. And again, I said offset, I meant more in terms of the same thing that I did with red. It's just make it other pigments to be a little bit more optically visible, or the optical mixing. That's what I was looking for. So let's then finish this, actually, the whole tube. Nothing's gonna go into waste. Nice. Nice. So it's going to give me like a rich orange. And I want to use that orange as my I'm thinking about that, and I need something that's going to be really dark and saturated. And when I put dark mixture of blue and the dark mixture of black and white into it, just a touch to make it lighter, and I'm not going to really paint all over these shadows. I'm just going to like to place the pigments on the top. I'm going to get that that beautiful, hopefully, in theory, that beautiful optical illusion that that it's kind of a that we talked about a lot when it comes to these like a technical ideas about painting, because I hear all the time online and even with established painters sometimes that transparent shadows means that it's just a transparent pigment. That's just not how it works. That's not how it works in nature. Yeah. Transparent shadow is because you're making it look like it's transparent. It's an illusion. And there are many ways how to make it transparent or how to create that transparent illusion. It's up to you to choose the one that you prefer. And I prefer the method of like a combination of direct painting against a against layering. And by layering, I mean, indirect painting. When I, lay down some ideas, some shapes first for myself to just get me kind of started, and then I develop it more and more, and then I like to scrape and sand, and I really like that technical narrative so much. It's the reason why I enjoy to repaint my paintings, and that's something that actually it helps me to get better when to be a little bit more. It's not necessarily even brave, but to be a little bit more adventurous when it comes to repainting my work and going back and forth with pigments and exploring my own mistakes. Who doesn't like to explore its own mistakes, right? What could be better than beautiful weekend before Christmas or week before Christmas? And you're alone in the studio. And you're thinking about how bad your painting is. What could be better? What could be more in the spirit of having fun than this? And I truly have to say that I am enjoying it. I really do. And I'm hoping that you can as well to enjoy these things, because oh, I'm sorry. I'm in painting right now. I'm in the painting mode. I'm in that stone cold execution that my brain goes to. Okay, I have to have a fold right here. That's going to like this. I need to put this right here. Because I think I'm on the right track with the composition. And I want to see, and what I'm doing right now, actually, I'm developing this part right here, because this is what's the focal point of this painting. I can have fun with this as much as I want. I can do whatever I want right here, because this is going to take care of itself later with the background, and I'm just going to put it together. Important right now for me is to see if the shoulder and the neck and the position of the hoodie works properly, and the size of this with the whole painting. So when I'm stepping back, I am comparing this adjustment to this, right? That's very important. And what I really, really like when I'm looking from a distance, it's like this kind of a dark shape right here, menace. You remember I talked about that I want some darkness there, so let's just punch it up even more. Let's make it crazy. Let's not let people leave from that dark spot right there. Let's force them into looking there. And since I have a lot of pigments on the, since I already have pigments on the canvas, to keep the saturation, to keep the richness of the pigment, I'm going straight into I'm mixing very little physically, and right now I'm working more optic illusion rather than anything else. Optic illusion, optical mixing, that's what I meant. My apologies. Nice, and then right here, that would be the top part. Oops. Can I go even lighter here? Yeah, I can. Of course I can. Not only I can go here lighter, I have to go here lighter. Yep. And okay, I'm back. That was longer than 5 minutes break, but I had to vacuum the living room while my husband was away because nobody likes the noise of it. Well, it's your main canvas secured, the big one. It is secured. It's I have a like there is a little like on my easel on this one, on the large kind of a main beam, there is a piece of like a clamp that it's holding it from tilting that way. And I stapled the little wire from the other side, so it's not tilting the other way around. It's like I said, I'm not really the best example of you know, you have these beautiful, you know, videos when painters have these professional easels and so on and so forth. It's just, I wish I have them, but you can get away without them. Well, a little bit of creativity, but, you know, it's behind the scenes, behind the scenes. It made me nervous seeing it shaking like that, but as long as it doesn't completely fall, it's good. Well, here's the thing. It's just, like imagine there is a, in the back, there is a clamp similar to this. Like it's clamped like this. You won't be able to see it that way. It's clamped like, okay, you're gonna see that. It's clamped like this. And it cannot fall because it would have to, but you can still push it so you can get disconnected, but hopefully it won't. Well, I wouldn't lean anything on it. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. Maybe let's just make it even a little lighter, that cross. So it really pushes with that background. Nice ghetto setup, yeah. If it works, it works. Yeah, you're absolutely right. If it works, it works. So who cares? Well, but here's the thing. It has a small caveat there. It works until it doesn't work. Well, and then, you know, then you get a problem. Let me see if I can make this a little bit more. Whoop. And the other thing is what's helping me is this is a really heavy and thick stretcher bar. So it's like that thick. Right now with my my gloves are like on my face. Where do I show it so we can see? It's like this thick. That's like this thick. You can actually see it on the side right here a little bit, like thickness. Like it's not that small or thin compared to canvas next to it. The smaller one, this guy right here, this is just a regular thickness of a stretcher bar, and this is like I think it's called museum quality or whatever. Not even studio, not even atelier. It's strictly museum when they need to secure paintings properly, mounted them to walls and so on and so forth. So it's just, and I have to say, it's expensive as hell, but I like it. But I like it. And I know that I'm supposed to paint all kinds of other stuff, but I'm trust me, I'm trying to fix the problem with a composition. And you might think that, why are you painting this again and again and again? Because I'm keying it to, I changed this shape right here a little bit. I pushed it heavier. So again, it gave me a little bit more space right here, so I can push this heavy the other way around, so it makes it lighter. So I just stick that, I create that juxtaposition, right? And when I say juxtaposition, I mean this is light against dark, which is his hair immediately, right? So it's a lot of contrast, whereas this is dark into dark into dark. There's a really slow shift, right? So, and then instead of you thinking about this figure, as I mentioned separately, you are thinking about this shape, the large one right here that's sticking out. And it's just, this needs to go way darker, and it's gonna go darker the way that I'm going to saturate it more. So I'm gonna play with the saturation. So his garment on the top, on the light side, it's going to be slightly lighter and cooler, which means it's going to be mixture with, I think I'm gonna do, in my head, the calculations would be like a raw sienna with a little bit of white with a black. So it's because I want to neutralize that blueness a little bit. I want a neutral grays. And then I'm gonna hit his face, which is going to be all in shadow, completely in the shadow. And I'm gonna hit it with a dark burnt sienna. So it's going to shine, it's going to separate itself from these elements. These shapes are going to be separated from each other, but but you really have to look for that face there, right? Because you're gonna read, instead of reading this as a head, you're gonna read this as one large shape, right? Because I felt that you are starting to see the figures. I don't want you to focus on the figures there. You're supposed to focus on figures right here, not right here. This is like these are all the supporting characters, right? And when you have a supporting character, even when you're writing a novel or something, support character has to be, like, it's there, it has a pivotal role in the story, but it cannot overpower a main character. Do you think I'm solving it? I don't know. I'm talking myself through that, solving it. So we can do like a little abstract shapes right there, which kind of going to help carry that. And you might think that the ideal would be, and this is, I'm thinking out loud, that ideal would be like, this should be like a kind of a golden, right? So it could shine. But here's the thing, it's going to shine as a desaturated pigment if I'm going to just really hit the background behind it. That's the kind of a, I'm going to trick you into thinking that it's something else. That it should be like, because again, we're thinking so literally about these things. So this is an icon. Icons are made out of a wooden board, which is gilded, means that there is a leaves of gold on top of it, and therefore it reflects a lot of light, so it has to be shiny. You're absolutely right, but you can make something shine by you can make something shine by creating everything shiny around, and this is going to be desaturated. So it's kind of that trick of your own, like you're expecting it to be one way, but wait, it's the all the other way. So it creates like a space for you to examine. So yeah. Do you think it's working? Yeah, that's what I felt, that, and that's the power of composition in terms of, like, I am literally trying to, with this darkness, naturally you want to go from the darkness away because it's kind of bothering you, And if everything would be dark, the whole painting is darkness, but there is a darkness here because it's unknown. We don't know what is there. It was the time before they brought a language, therefore knowledge. So that is the light area, right? So it's kind of a, it's the metaphor that it's pushing you to go towards the figures. It has to. Plus, we went through the whole checklist, right? So I have less information, less values, larger shapes, no details, no bright colors. These are all this is basically just black, white, and sienna mixed together in a little bit of red, vermilion. Of course, it has to be vermilion. And we went to a full color right here, right? So it's just you're forced by all the information in the checklist. Plus, I'm going to solve the problem right now with this guy. It's already happening. I can see it slightly. He's getting a little smaller. So this is going to give a chance to really shine and go forward. And I'm going to bring him out maybe by hand, right? So I'm just going to focus on the hand and the direction again. And maybe just a little bit of some kind of maybe we could do some little specks of lights right here on that pole, right? Just to bring that, just to push it even further towards where it's supposed to be. Oh, I almost forgot to drink my tea. And it's getting dark in the studio. Unfortunately. And for a reason, well, like when I was creating that, and you can't see it, the painting of a knight in the back, the character that I did for a non-profit organization, I kind of got really into that color combination, white, blue, and golden. It's just I kind of like it very much these days. Come back, son, we need you. Yeah, we do. Yeah, I think that shape works. I'm looking at the. I have my digital file on. The only thing is that it's a little too. That's the problem. Okay, I see it right now. I squint my eyes, and when you think about it, like this right now, this direction, it's a little too symmetrical, right? So I have to place something here, maybe some light. My camera just started. My camera is just turning on. It has its own life. I don't know what's happening there. So I need a little bit, and I really grab really saturated pigment right here, and it's just going to be, I'm going to create some of these, and these are just the random brush strokes, and then just having that fun with the color. It is fun color combination. White, blue, and gold is just, it really, for some reason, and I'm using like titanium white and then the ceruleum with ultramarine mixtures. So it's just kind of, it's not one, like I said, we're not painting fences here. So I'm trying to really play with those two pigments, and then just a little bit of like yellow ochre mixed with the Indian yellow, a little bit of white, just punch the saturation, it just kind of shines through these pigments. It looks pretty cool. I like it very much. I have to read this. Geez, sometimes it's hard for me to paint alongside because I enjoy watching you trying to solve these issues. Yeah, you know what? um, I, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I feel that enthusiasm in your idea or in your situation, because yeah, man, I like to I always prefer to look at someone else struggle and maybe and hoping and rooting for the person to, dude, you go, you figure it out, I'm here with you. And I appreciate it. I really do. I really do. So yeah. But you see, like, you know, how many times I just felt that, oh, I got it, and then only to come and see that, oh no, I'm not even close to be there. So let's push his face a little bit, because right now it looks too. Well, camera. Are you working camera or not? You do? You don't? You do? And then the other thing is that you remember last time I talked about fashion, Nikolai Fashion, and I just enjoy his work more and more. And I'm enjoying to paint that way, with that freedom, and seeing and thinking about, oh, is it going to work? Or am I going to, it almost feels like it's so crazy to look at his paintings that it feels, maybe it happens to you sometimes, that you're finishing projects and you have this and that, and you don't even know, like, let's say when you were digital, because I work right now in the Blender, and some of the parts, like some modifier were applied, some weren't, something I actually melt, you know, some objects I actually put together as one object, and it all hanged on one thread. It's just it was right before the last straw that will break the camel's back, and I just and then let's do that, you know, because I was making the animation as well. So the animation ran through and you're waiting, I'm gonna watch the video and I'm gonna see whether or not it all actually did what I asked it to do. But it's balancing on like a really, it's like a, that I can't even describe it, and I'm pretty sure that we all had these projects when you just had to deliver, and it either worked or you just failed completely. And that's why I like Fashion's painting so much, because it feels that way. He's just throwing paint around, and somehow, by some miracle, like all these little pieces of, I don't know if you had a chance to see his painting I saw his paintings live, or in person rather, and they are so beautiful. It's like he paints, is my camera works? So it sometimes looks like he takes this, like he would just scrape it almost feels like he scraped the palette and then he placed the brushstroke like this. This is exactly how it makes no sense whatsoever. And if you've ever had a chance to go and see his paintings, Nikolai Fashion, a Russian painter that moved to, let me just type it for you. Remember I talked about that when it comes to during the composition that we were working on with these oranges and reds. It was I think it was one of a bed paintings Friday. Give me a second. To type it down for you. It's Nikolai Fashion. I always have to check the English spelling because I don't remember it. I know how to write it in Azbuka, but because he's Russian, this is his name. And when you really, and then he's a master painter. He's a student of Ilya Repin. And there is that very famous painting of his that it's actually, it's his diploma painting, and it hangs in the museum in our school, and it's called Kapustnica. I think this is how you spell it. Kapustnica. That painting is just, I mean, seeing this in person, it's just crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, you zoom in, or you actually step close to that painting, and these are just the random brush strokes. And then out of nowhere, suddenly, shapes appears. It is insane. I have goosebumps. I have to show them to you. It's crazy. And I'm looking at the picture right now. I have it actually on the screen because I was looking for how to type it. No justice whatsoever. It's large. I think it's 2x3. And these heads of a cabbage, because kapusta means cabbage. Even in my language. And these cabbage heads are size of your head, and it's a pure abstract painting, just hitting it with whatever palette knife, I don't know. It's crazy. He's crazy. It's like when you, I think that he is a, he has that trifecta of important things. He's an awesome draftsman, great painter, and he has a perfect sense for composition. It's very rare to see all these three things in one person. But once you're there, you're golden. You're unstoppable then. So let's make his head a little smaller. Exactly, you're absolutely right. I'm going to read your comment. Now I look at my painting and and I'm like, ew, it looks overworked or over-rendered compared to his works. Yes, yeah. It just, even when I'm looking at my painting, it seems like I labored. I'm pretty sure he labored on that one, but it's a different kind of labor. it's a creative labor, and I'm just trying to somehow create some idea of, I don't even know. I don't even want to go into that because I'll start freaking out here. So that's why I'm trying to encourage you, and not only you. I'm trying to encourage myself as well to just be a little bit more bold. I mean, what I did right here, and really, this is how he paints. And then he takes a pigment, and he was like, no, it needs to go this way, and somehow it works perfectly. And he just, I don't know, I don't understand that yet. And then it seems like it looks like it just kind of dried. And then, because I was there, I was looking at it and I was trying to understand what's happening. And then since it's like this kind of a random shapes, then he comes with like a ultramarine blue, and then he just creates like a drawing up there, like so. And then you're looking at it and what? Where did that blue came from there? It's crazy. It's crazy to look at that painting. You got to love that painting. I mean, he was just, he was far out, as a kids used to say when I was young. Far out, bro. So in some way, I don't want to say that I'm trying to replicate the way he paints. That's not my intention. But I'm trying to free myself from that, that kind of oh, that's a head. Oh, I have to paint the head. Oh, there are eyes right there. Oh, let me paint the eyes. It's just too much of labor, and not that it's not appreciated. It is extremely appreciated when it comes to viewers, but it's not interesting to coming back to see it again. Painting loosely and have that rawness, it's so good. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I don't think that. Uh, uh, um, I think that hyperrealism. It's just from that. That. How would I put this? I understand the skill. I understand the patience to go that distance. It's almost like hyperrealism. It's compensating for something else that you lack in your work. That's how I look at hyperrealism. And I'm not saying there is plenty of super real, hyper real paintings that I enjoy and I go to see more and more. But they are, let me put it this way. They are way more rare than just simple, than just abstract paintings. I would rather go to see exhibition with abstract paintings than with the paintings of hyperrealism. Not because one would be better than the other, but in my experience, I have a better chance to get excited to see what let me rephrase that. Not rephrase it. Let me put it so it makes sense. If there is a hyperrealism exhibition and abstract gallery opening, I have to choose only one, I'll go to abstract. Not because one would be better than the other, but because in my experience, I have a better chance to get excited to see good abstract painting than good hyperrealism. Not that they are, not that it doesn't, like I said, there's plenty of good hyperrealism, but it's way rare than good abstract painting. And then when you look at work of Fashion, of Nikolai Fashion, the guy that we talk about right now, he just makes circles around us. He's choosing, well, I'm going to do abstract, I'm going to do hyperrealism, I'm going to do whatever realism I want. Right now, you know what, I just want to do this. And right now, I'm just going to grab a palette knife and I'm just going to scrape the paint around, and I'm going to show you how good I am just moving freely. Fashion, especially with that, because I haven't seen that many paintings of his. I've seen Kapusnica, and I think that's a peak awesomeness when it comes to me, because I am actually working on the diploma painting myself. So it's just the closest to me, and seeing the level of understanding of what's happening with the pigments and the narratives and technical narratives and bravura with the brush and freedom and exploration of, he's not afraid to do whatever he wants with paint. And it comes from absolute control of the tools that he's using. And it takes time. It takes enormous amount of time. And that's why painting is not that that's why so many people stride away from going that direction, because it requires enormous amount of skill on top of already a good amount of skill, if that makes sense. And then that's why people rather choose, oh, I want to get better, so I'm going to go hyper realistic, or I just want to go looser, so I'm going fully abstract. Whereas Fashion, he's not choosing one or the other. He's making, you know, it's like, oh, this needs to be compositional, this needs to be abstract, so let me just do something there. And this, okay, I want to bring the attention here, so let me put a little bit more focus there. So let me give a little bit more demanding viewers, less kind of a free, just, you know, roaming around and, you know, enjoying the movements with randomness. Let me also grab that group of people. And according to what I see, he's the one that brings people together rather than divide them. There is no abstract painter that will come to see this and say, this is just, it's not good abstractions. And there is no really good hyper-realist painter that will go, oh, maybe he should step up the game. It's just, it's the best from the both worlds, packaged beautifully into perfect composition. So, something to think about before I end up the stream and looking at my painting. Oh God, it's just, this is so, why am I doing this to you? And myself, I don't know. It's just, it's one of these things that you really have to, and I'm saying this because, not because I want to torture you, not because I want to torture myself. If you want to push yourself to get to that better level, when it comes to your own, work, you simply have to go there. You have to be prepared to really work on your own compositions to that degree. It's just no other way. So don't get discouraged. Yeah, it's like a Richard Schmidt. Yes. But unfortunately, I've never seen Richard Schmidt to go 2x3 and just. I mean, I wish everybody could see that Nikolai Fashion Kapusnica painting live. I think that would be thing number one if you are into a painting, to see like how far you can push it. It really, as I mentioned, it hangs on that thread, like a really small thread. And it's just, you can see like the thickness of a paint. He really scoops like a big chunks of paint and he throws them there. And then you can see like imagine, can you see, my camera is working. So imagine this is what he does, and I'm gonna destroy the patch of pigment, but it doesn't matter because it's important for you to see that. Or not to see that. So imagine that I'm gonna grab this dirty vermilion, which is very important. So he just puts like this, like a bunch of pigment like this, right? So it's just like, like it almost looks like he squeezed the tube. So this is what he did, what he does. And then he took, let me do this so it's like really visible. And then he grabs a green pigment and he goes over that like so. And he continues and moves and he creates like, it's crazy. It almost seems to me when I look at his work, it seems like he is breaking the laws of how pigments could be applied to a canvas. Or at least it looks like he's balancing on the edge of what you can do with pigment itself, on top of perfect. Oh, it is nice. It is nice. So and then why I'm trying to push you. That's the reason why I'm trying to push you and myself together with you to do these Bad Painting Fridays, because he really pushed that limits of pigment. He stretched it to a maximum, and it comes from that fact that he is incredibly skillful. He was incredibly skillful draftsman. These things are not random. He knew what he was doing, and it happens because he sees 20 layers ahead. Oh, I'm going to use that bump because I want to have like a cheek right there. So he has cheeks like, I mean, you have to go and see it. I can't talk about that because it's just I'm gonna I don't want to spoil it for you. I want you to see it and then you're gonna be like, what just happened? And I think it was very important for me to see it and let loose. Be like, okay, it's gonna be all right. You're gonna survive. Don't worry about it. Canvas can take it. Pigment can take it. The only part that doesn't work, it's you. You can't take it to do that. That's the only problem. So the moment that you unleash or unlock that, you're golden. You're cooking. It's almost like it looks like every brushstroke is bad. Therefore, every brushstroke is good. It's just, it has like weird. I don't know. For me, he's the top when it comes to understanding of what paint is and how far you can push it and what can you do with it. And nobody knows about him, or very few people. Speaking of Bad Friday, if all goes well and if my plan goes well, I'll be able to paint alongside for 2 hours. So like a time painting, which is also a great choice for Bad Painting Friday, right? It's perfect. It's perfect because the idea of Bad Painting Friday actually happened because before streams, because I start at 12, before streams, I painted 2 hours to warm up myself because I was worried that I'm not going to perform well. Really, truly, and I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. Yeah, and I tied myself. I gave myself hour, 2 hours. It just, when you look like a previous, very old ones, when you go into that deep dive on my YouTube channel. You're going to see these time challenges. And the good part about you giving yourself a time frame is that you should have a final painting within the 2 hours. That's going to show you the level, the true skill that you have. Because you have to make quick decisions, you have to paint and really lay down the paint, and that's it. There is no coming back. It's a different kind of skill that you're training. You're gonna dive deep later. Yeah, I mean, these streams are pretty bad right now. Can you imagine how bad they were like a half year ago? It's just that the sound doesn't work at all. I talked for hours without the sound because nobody was watching. Nobody told me that, you know, there is no sound. And after streaming, I just realized that there is no sound there. It's like people are, because I'm using like a headphones as a speaker, not only as a microphone. So people are calling me through that streams. It's a mess. It's a mess. Do yourself a favor and and be prepared for a for a funky ride when it comes to this. I don't know if you watched that video that I was mentioning about the guy running on the treadmill and trying to paint. So that's what it reminds me today, actually. But he was doing it, he was making it as a joke, and I was right there, like really a joke. But it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. It's all fun, and it's all tongue in cheek, or whatever they say. It's like a. You wanted to. It was it hilarious? Wasn't it, right? It was so dumb. I don't even know who came up with that idea, but it's just priceless. It's just he's trying to put the, yeah, it's great. Everybody who's watching this, please go check out the guy on how's a guy who's trying to paint and run on treadmill simultaneously. It's crazy. It's dumb. It's really dumb, but so funny. It's a dumb idea, very well executed. Oh man, it's just so funny. Let me push this a little bit more, like so. What I'm doing right now, I'm changing the face a little bit. So, because it wasn't right. So what are you gonna do? And with fashion, what's interesting is that he paints everything thickly, and then portraits are smooth. Which would, it's, what? Why? How come he's doing it? It's just really, it's a fine, he's a really fine painter. And he understands the color, like impressionists. He's as good draftsman as like a 19th century painters, because he was trained by 19th century by Repin. You remember we talked about Repin and his painting of boatman on Volga boatman, I think that's the name of that. Boatman on Volga, on River Volga. And Repin himself, if I'm not mistaken, said that this is the best painter I've ever seen. He's way better than he could ever be. And that's that beauty, because really, I mean, good painters, they can tell who's a good painter. Yeah, and that's why I think that every art school should have a museum. Well, it's not that I know this is just it's crazy to think that way, but I think that every art school should have a museum, so you can go there and you can see real masters. You can see real masters showing you how it's done. It's amazing. It's amazing sight to behold. But there is a lot of his work is United States. So those of you who are watching from United States, you have a chance to see his work there. But mostly, I think it's mostly portraits that you can find there. What if I just push this a little bit here, the greenness, just a touch, like maybe just, so the rose right here, all the way here, so I'm just, so there is something there. So I'm making him smaller, and I know it's getting darker, but I'm enjoying to paint today, and especially after that, like a talk about fashion. It's just, you just want to go and show that you can be as good as him. Because the funny part is that inside, from outside, you just want to say no. I can never be like him. But then from inside, you have that feeling of, yeah, but I'm gonna try my best. So, and I think that's awesome. And not only you, I have that feeling that I'm just gonna try my best to go there, to go the distance, and see what's up. And then I'm going to come tomorrow morning in the studio at 8 a.m. and the first thing that I'll see is going to be this, and I'll be, well, surprised to say the least. I'm going to be surprised, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm making him smaller, which is awesome because he needs to be smaller. Let me maybe adjust this a little bit. Oh, that's too dark. I need a lighter value. A little bit more of that vermilion. And I can't see if I have a proper mixtures, but it's still. See, I have to go get the pigments because this white that I'm using, I don't know what white it is. It's a different brand. It's really weak. it's really weak. So the nose is going to be here and the mouth is going to be somewhere around here. And this is a chin and it goes here. Okay. I think this is way better. Having it smaller seems way better. Yeah, definitely. Yep. I'm so glad that we struggle here together, because I don't think I would be able to find this answer as I don't want to say as quick, but as efficient, or I'm a little bit more prone to lie to myself when I'm by myself. So neutralize that a little bit. No, I need that blue there. Maybe I could push this right here, the lighter value from to create those sleeves right here. And also I want to create that, the folds that I had the problems with. So I want to keep the same flow. I'm just making it a little smaller and pushing it to a slightly different position. And you remember from previous stream, when I start, because, and if there's someone that is watching this and it's not aware of what's happening here, we started this painting. We did like a imprimatura painting, and we composed this together a while on stream, and I was talking about how difficult for me it's to deal with the folds right here, because I did not include them in the preliminary idea, or I changed that preliminary or main idea because composition asked for that. And right now I want to figure out those folds immediately so I don't have the same problem, because it's gonna drive me crazy. And let's just get rid of this. Let's really get rid of that. So I can judge the size properly. And I'm just hitting it with a pigment, like straight out of a tube almost, very saturated. I hope I didn't miss too much. No, I don't think that you did. Same thing, talking about random things. But mainly I'm trying to fix the problems with the figure, and I think it's better right now. And in the spirit of fashion, I'm just trying to be a little bit looser, so you have a little bit more fun. Plus, I can't see anything anymore. because it's really dark here, so. Okay, well, I think I have to stop because it's really dark, and you can see that my camera is it's lagging a lot. So let me just look at this and just maybe evaluate things that we did today. It was it was a rough start, and I wanted to work on one side, and it happens to be the answers are on the other side, but it's slowly starting to work. The only thing that might be a problem as it is right now, that this part right here, I'm looking at it, this looks disconnected, right? So it looks like this is completely a different painting. And maybe that's what bothers me a little bit. Because when you look on these two, they exist together. They make sense together. They really do. So I have to find a way how to connect him with the rest of the pigments. It was dark here to start with, then now there's a sun shining at other window, blinding me from being able to see my painting properly. Oh, environmental conditions, yes, you have to embrace them. But yeah, let me just finish this, because I know that most of you are preparing for Christmas and shopping and dinners and cooking and so on and so forth. And I know how time consuming and demanding these tasks can be. So maybe I should do some of them myself, right? So I started here, and you remember today I was talking about how, you know, the dark figure right here, that I'm going to have a dark figure with a little bit of a light face. But then I wanted to see it. I started to model that figure, and I realized that it's stepping out from the background. And if background is an enormous part of the composition, I can't simply divide it from or separate it from a background. So I went to a mode of, okay, I have to not necessarily repaint it, but I have to push it a little further, because, well, I have to unify it, because the composition is asking for that. And if you set up your priorities that composition is on the top, no matter else what you're doing, you always have to refer back to composition as your main boss, as your main driving force. It is, but, and hear me out, composition is my main driving force. And I'm not using it only as a boss, I'm using it as a place where I feel happy. I feel happy when I can compose paintings. That's when I feel most happiest. If that's the no, that's where I feel that's the happiest stage that I'm in. And whenever I have that inner feeling of something is wrong, I know that it has to be a composition, because it doesn't bother me that this is not eye, this is not the nose. It doesn't bother me. You remember I showed you this guy that is just loosely painted. It doesn't bother me that the hand is not, well, it does, but it doesn't bother me in terms of the execution. It bothers me that it's in the wrong position compositionally. So when I have that inner feeling that something is wrong, the feeling of something being wrong, it's mostly compositional. Not mostly, it's always compositional. Because you can, you can put whatever face you want on top of this. I can still rotate and turn this around and do that. There is so many things that I can do with it within the composition. But if a composition is bad, there is really nothing I can do. So yeah, that's what I did today. I unified the composition because my agreement with Harold Speed, unity within the variety and variety within a unity, you already see that these are the figures. You know that if it's connected and it's continuing in the background, these are not going to be aliens or animals or anything like that. These are always going to be figures. I don't need to give you any detail there. I can just suggest shapes of a figures, right? So I'm going to play off of that. How would I put this? I'm going to play off of that knowledge that we all have. It's just difficult for us to simplify it. And I think, honestly, when it comes to me, it's because I want to give you that information. I want to give you that, oh, I want to show you how good I am when it comes to, painting portraits or hands or whatever that is. I want to show you my skill. And that's counterproductive when it comes to large or compositions in general. Or if you're thinking about composition as your main driving force. So I know this was a lot when it comes to composition today, and I'm going to continue with these with these streams in terms of being compositional heavy, because I think that we neglect the most, and especially when it comes to education, because I can't get you a book on composition and you're going to read it and you're going to understand and be able to compose. When I talk about composition, I talk about creativity, and you cannot just sit down and read about creativity and being creative. You have to push yourself to go into these like a creative journeys. There is no other way. There is no, and with painting, like I said, painting is the worst when it comes to this, because people think that you just wake up creatively gifted. No one thinks that Mozart woke up, or Bach, or Beethoven, or Rachmaninoff, or Mussorgsky, or Tchaikovsky, or I don't know, fill the blank, your favorite composer, and they could create these beautiful, moving pieces of music. They had to understand a lot of things. They had to understand what the music is before they were able to then move it around. And I talked about Kapusnica, which is a painting by Nikolai Feshin, and I think that he's one of these. He can switch, depends on the mood. And well, let me put it this way: we have a classically trained musicians that play in in philharmonias around the world. The company of the Philharmonic Orchestra of city, for instance, Vienna. It is a specific group of people that are creating a specific sound that it's completely different than maybe Philadelphia Philharmonic Orchestra, right? But they all understand the notes. They all understand what the music is. They understand the rhythms. They understand the music theory. They can read notes. There is an understanding among them. They are all skillful players. They choose to play a note differently. Same goes for famous jazz players. And how I see a fashion, he was a best jazz player when he needed, and he was a best classical orchestra player when he choose to. And he was manipulating, and he's still through his paintings, because we can still see them, he's manipulating, or not manipulating. Well, he's manipulating the pigments on the canvas, but he's also kind of moving my personal emotions when I look at that painting. Sometimes I come to that painting, and well, I used to go there almost every day. During the break, I just went out from the door, and I went to a museum with, just it's the same building, and I went there for 5 minutes. I look at the painting, I refreshed myself, and I went back to see my painting being completely destroyed, right? And it was like I did this so many times, but there was always something else that I saw, and it always reflected the day that I went to, or the problem of the day. So I had a problem, let's say, with hands, right, in the academy, the Imperial Academy in St. Petersburg, and I didn't know how to paint the hands, so I went down to see what Nikolai Fashion did, and I saw how much more do I have to, how many more hours I have to put into sketching and understanding of the motions of the hand within the rhythm of a composition, within the rhythm of the body itself. Because Fashion understood this very well. So you can see how dark it is, and it's kind of a and you can see right now how monochromatic that painting is. So this is actually very close to how I see it in my studio when you're seeing it right now, because there is no sun, there is no direct sun, there is not that many reflection from the buildings and from the environment around, so the room is not flooded, and camera is trying to push the light more. So instead of focusing on color, it's focusing on value right now. So this is a little bit more how I see it. And this would be the stage where I would think about shapes in terms of value. And then, I can start put a color on top of it. And so on and so forth. That I don't want to go into it right now, because there is tomorrow. So let me end on this note, because I think that was a lot of information about the composition today, and you saw me struggle. You saw me trying to solve certain problems. I'm going to know whether or not I solve them the way that I like tomorrow morning. So definitely come back to see and check up whether or not I was successful or not. It would be definitely fun. Plus, I have to figure out something for a bed painting Friday, which is awesome. I believe tomorrow is Friday. Yes. So yeah. Hope to see you soon. Hope to see you tomorrow. And also, I hope that the cameras are going to work a little better than today. My apologies. That's something that I cannot. Well, I could, but I don't have enough technical skill power to do all these things. But I'm gonna get better during the Christmas. I might have a little bit more time to dive in and maybe fine tune certain things. So. Let's see what's going to happen. But the most important, it's a painting, and everything else just goes on hold when we paint here, and also creative discourse. So join me next time as well. I'm going to be here. I'm looking forward to that, and I appreciate your contributions. I can't stress this enough. So I hope to see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.